Imagine you sit down at a restaurant with your boss, thinking you're finally going to talk about your salary, and instead you get an hour-long rant where he trashes the company's food, mocks the people who buy it as poor, insults your Indian coworkers, and casually admits he comes to work after eating marijuana edibles. That's what former Campbell Soup cybersecurity analyst Robert Garza says happened when he met with Campbell's Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer Martin Bailey in late 2024. According to a lawsuit and a secretly recorded audio, Bailey is heard calling Campbell's food highly processed and saying it's basically food for poor people that he himself avoids now that he knows what's in it. He allegedly talks about bioengineered meat, 3D printed chicken, and makes racially offensive remarks about Indian colleagues, while admitting he sometimes came to work under the influence of edibles. Campbell has since placed him on leave and put out a very polished statement. The comments, if true, are unacceptable. They don't reflect the company's values, and they insist their chicken is real, USDA approved, not lab-grown or 3D printed. These are allegations in a lawsuit, not court-proven facts. And Campbell is pushing back especially hard on the 3D chicken idea. Now, before we go any further, do me a favor. Drop in the comments where you're watching from, and if you believe Campbell's is being honest in this moment, because I want to talk about why this story hit me in the gut as a doctor who cares about people in communities where Campbell's, and foods just like it, are a way of life. The racism alleged here is not acceptable. Full stop. No title, no C-suite proximity, no I had edibles excuse makes that okay. But I'll be honest with you. The part that disturbed me the most, the part that probably hits home for a lot of my patients on the south side of Chicago, is this idea that there's one category of food for executives and another category of food for poor people. That the very people who profit from these products allegedly don't want to eat them themselves. That's bigger than one rude vice president. That's the entire playbook of our modern ultra-processed food system. Think about what dominates the shelves in lower-income neighborhoods, in food deserts, in corner stores and dollar stores. Canned soup, boxed dinners, instant noodles, frozen complete meals, cheap snack cakes, crackers, and sugary drinks. They're marketed as affordable, convenient family favorites. But when you flip the label around, what do you really see? Refined starches, seed oils, added sugars, flavor enhancers, gums, stabilizers with names you need a chemistry degree to pronounce. Now, let me put on my obesity and metabolic health hat for a second. What does that kind of food environment do to the human body over time? Highly processed carbohydrates spike your blood sugar. That surge in glucose drives insulin up. Over years, that constant insulin signal pushes the body toward insulin resistance. Insulin resistance sets the stage for type 2 diabetes, fatty liver, high blood pressure, weight gain around the waist, and eventually kidney disease, heart attacks, and strokes. And here's the thing, ultra-processed foods don't just fill your stomach, they hijack your brain. They're specifically engineered to hit your dopamine system, your reward center, so you keep going back to the pantry. You're not weak. You're just up against food that was literally designed to override your normal hunger and fullness signals. So when an executive allegedly says, we make this stuff for poor people, what I hear is, we make metabolically dangerous food for the very communities already drowning in chronic disease. And we know we can get away with it because they don't have many options. That hurts more than any marketing slogan can heal. Now, to be fair, Campbell is entirely entitled to defend the quality of their ingredients. They're saying loud and clear, we don't use 3D printed chicken. Our suppliers are USDA approved. These comments are false and don't represent us. Fine, but no one is denying that these are shelf-stable, highly processed products built for scale, profit, and convenience, not for optimal human health. And that's where you and I come in. Because at the end of the day, whether some guy in a suit was high on edibles when he trashed his own soup matters a lot less than what's actually sitting in your kitchen and how it's shaping your health. So let's make this practical. If your pantry right now has canned soups with long ingredients lists, boxed helper meals, cheap frozen entrees, and sugary canned drinks, I'm not telling you to burn it all in the backyard. Many of us survive because of this kind of food. My issue is not with you. My issue is with a system that pretends that this is just as good as real food, and then acts surprised when your A1C and blood pressure go through the roof. Here's what you can do starting today, whatever your budget is. First, trade up within your reality. If you can't go full grass-fed, it's okay. But you can swap canned soup for simple broth with leftover meat and maybe a low-carb veg. A boxed pasta kit for plain ground beef seasoned at home, maybe over a little cabbage instead of noodles. Sugary canned drinks for water, mineral water, or unsweetened tea. Second, shrink the ingredient list. When you're in the store, play a little game. How few ingredients can you buy? Eggs, real meat, plain yogurt if you tolerate dairy, frozen vegetables without sauces. If the ingredient list looks like a paragraph from a chemistry exam, put it back and step away slowly. Third, prioritize protein. Protein is your friend. It stabilizes blood sugar, helps preserve muscle, and keeps you fuller longer. Ultra-processed canned meals are usually light on high-quality protein and heavy on starch and oil. Build your meals around real protein: beef, chicken, fish, eggs. If you're carnivore or low carb, you already know the drill. If you're not, simply moving from ultra-processed carbs towards more protein will start shifting your metabolism in the right direction. And finally, don't let shame stop you from changing. If you've been feeding your kids this stuff because it's what you can afford, or it's all you knew, you are not a bad parent. You've been playing a rigged game. What this Campbell story does is pull the curtain back just a little bit and show you how some insiders really talk about the products that end up in your cart. So let's use it. Let it be the moment you say, if they wouldn't eat it, why am I building my family's health on it? And before we wrap up, if this kind of behind-the-scenes story helps you see your pantry differently, do 3 things for me. Tell me in the comments what the most ultra-processed item is in your house right now and what you're going to swap it with. Hit like and subscribe so YouTube knows you actually want content that protects your health instead of your cravings. Because my job is not to protect Campbell's brand or any brand. My job is to help you break up with the food culture that sees you as a poor person customer and start eating like someone whose health, future, and family actually matters. And just know this, I've got your back more than any soup label ever will. I'll see you in the next video.